All right, hello everyone from around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is AS Ether Pair. I am back with streaming. I haven't streamed in a couple days. I haven't played Rise of Nations in quite a while. I don't know. I've just been busy with real life stuff. Anyways, today we are going to be doing some AS 1v1 Cup games. I'm going to start with Sermon versus Athura in terms because there's those games and then there's Ether Pair versus Xano. Don't really feel like casting those just by myself because I did play those games. So I figured to start with Sermon versus Athura, see how things go, and then we'll continue from there. So let's get started here. All right, so this is game number 1. Again, this is the AS 1v1 Cup. Let's take a look at the players here. We've got Sermon versus Athura, longtime AS clan member. He's currently one of the clan leaders, along with Spiridon, and very seasoned player in a lot of different formats. Definitely would say I think he's a really solid Nomad player, especially. On the other side, we've got Zathura, who is a new member of AS, so welcome to the clan. Excited to have you here. I have no idea what Zathura's skill level is, but I'm excited to see what will happen here. We're going to see the matchup between Indians and Japanese. Sermon being the Japanese. So, I mean, if I had to place my money, it would definitely be on Sermon because he is definitely the more seasoned player, and I do prefer Japs over Indians. Maps is Himalayas, so it looks like the game could go long, which definitely I think favors Zathura in the end. Because those Indian elephants get better and better as the ages go on. But I wouldn't count, I think Sermon has a really good start here with Pappy right next to him and just being in the pocket. He can go for a quick wonder and a boom with Pappy, and that'll be really strong. Let's go ahead and skip some action. So while the players are just getting set up and just getting their beginning builders, let's take a look at the rares. So we've got wine here for Zathura. We've got marble. And then there's horses and citrus, but those are kind of off in the middle of nowhere. There's salt on the bottom here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. On the other side here, we have for Sermon, he's got obsidian and Pappy, and it looks like he is quite a bit faster than Zathura. Zathura only just now getting his commerce, whereas Jap's player is ready to go for that Civic 1 and is already building that market. Sermon has obsidian and Pappy, as well as silver, so I'm kind of expecting him. He has all the advantages here. He has the rares, he has a really excellent position to sit back and boom. He really doesn't, it's really going to be really hard for the Indian player to be give any sort of aggression here because, he's so far away. And that's bad news when your opponent has Pappy and silver here. Sermon's going to go for Civic 1, pretty standard keep up, but, he's in big trouble, definitely. He has done a good job scouting the rares that he might have access to, but he doesn't see Sermon's silver, he doesn't see Sermon's Pappy, and so that's a big problem for him. Also the obsidian, but whatever. Sermon's actually going to go for Civic or Commerce 2. Interesting choice. I think this is fine, especially considering he's Japs. It's one of the main powers of Japs. You can go for that Commerce 2 and pretty much the same speed. I mean, look at the economies, right? He's basically the same. Looks like Sermon's skimped on units for now, and Zathura does scout that silver, which is pretty important. He'll want to raid that later on with an elephant. But for now, he can't really do anything to stop his opponent from using it. And his opponent is really fast here. It's at, look at the score difference already. It's 230 points. And Sermon's food income is way up there already, 143. Zathura's in a lot of trouble here. Not really sure how he gets out of this one. I think he needs to get aggressive because Sermon's just really far ahead. You can't let the Pappy and silver player boom, but unfortunately Zathura doesn't quite know about that. He is going to use salt, which is a nice choice. Nice of him to sneak a merchant over there. Really like to see him try and deny these rares here, the horses and citrus. Horses being especially important because Indians. Quite good. Like this temple choice from Zathura, nice. Would also like to see a market, given that he's Indians. He's at plus 100, which is nice. But Sermon's really far ahead here. He's going to go for Science 1 now. Going to be able to get a still nearly sub 10 minute boom with this Japs economy, and really good. Whereas Zathura is only now going to be able to click up He's not even going to get the discount, unfortunately. And both players click up, but Sermon is at the 150 eco, and he's going to go for Colossus immediately. Oh, sorry, Zathura is going to go for Colossus immediately. Interesting choice, definitely, to try and catch up. Hey, Vinny. Is that Vinny in the chat? I forget your actual YouTube thing. If it is Vinny, I actually I was actually thinking of casting my game versus Xano as well, and I heard that you were interested in casting, so I wanted to see if you're free. Anyways, we could talk about that in Steam or Discord or something. Just message me. Yeah, so Zathura is going to go for a Colossus, which is definitely an interesting choice. I think here it's a good choice because he recognizes he has to catch up against his opponent somehow, right? He's clearly going to be behind in tech. He still hasn't scouted the Pappy, which is a bit unfortunate, but he scouted Silver. His opponent clearly has better rares than him, at least so far. He really needs to get something going here. So he's going to go for Colossus, and Colossus is one way to catch up. The game goes really long, he can get ahead. Unfortunately, Zathura a little bit sloppy there, going to lose a Bowman to another Bowman just walking into it. That's a free unit for Sermon, really nice for him. Sermon's going to go for Senator, and Zathura is actually going to go for Civic 2 before Government. I think this is a good choice, especially if he can get the city out, but he's just a little slow in that. Also slightly awkward. I don't think he can actually reach this here, can he? Let's see. Oh, he actually can. That would be a nice city spot. Start trying to contest Citrus and stuff, but he's gonna go for the top side instead. Try and secure Marble? Question mark? Not entirely sure. But it's still gonna be really tough for him. I mean, Sermon's at plus 200, right? He has plus 190 food. I would expect to see him. Oh, he's actually gonna go for Science 2. Don't really like this play. I thought he was gonna go for Hanging Gardens. Yeah, I thought he was going to go for Hanging Gardens, but he's going to go for Science 2 instead. I don't know. I think Hanging Gardens is probably the better move in this game. Even though your opponent has... Oh, here we see the players sharing Assault here. Even though your opponent's going Colossus and you think you can outboom them with Pappy, you still got to make sure you can secure that late game boom. So I would have really liked to see a Hanging Gardens here out of Sermon, especially considering he has a bunch of food income. Zathura hasn't clicked up on Government quite yet. Not really sure where his food's going. It looks like he's going to go for a War Elephant. I think he's going to find himself really far behind in food sooner rather than later if he doesn't get his Government soon. This Colossus is going to finish up very soon, so that's nice for him. He's going to get a bunch of wood income that's going to supplement his bunch of farms, which is nice of him. Servant's going to go for Civic 2. Don't think Sermon scouted that Zathura is using this rare on the bottom. Sermon's going to go for a forward city. And there's an elephant and a hoplite here. Zathura still doesn't research Republic, which is quite, this is quite late research time. poor Zathura, he's going to go for a tower at Marble. Pretty awkward there. I mean, he has Marble and wine. He's also just sharing salt with Sermon, so looks like neither of them had noticed that. Sermon's actually going to go for Religion. Question mark? I don't know. I guess he's trying to get a city in a more forward spot. Not really sure. But you can see the point swing, right? Sermon's way ahead here. Zathura is finally going to go for the Republic. This is a really late Republic, actually. I think he delayed it a little bit too much. He didn't need to make all these units. He does have Colossus in. His opponent doesn't. Although he's at plus 10 knowledge income, whereas Sermon's at, let's see, plus 94. Sermon's going to go for Mill 2 now. Yeah, it looks like Sermon's going to try to push on this side. He is pop capped. It's pretty annoying for him, but I mean, the knowledge incomes are a big gap here. Colossus is no good if you don't have either A, a large army, or B, a good... It's basically not good if you don't have a good economy to support it, and right now this economy is a bit lacking. Zathura hasn't really had time to put down the infrastructure that he needs. A bunch of farms, right? A bunch of the woodcutter camps and stuff. Especially woodcutter camps, right? With Colossus, one of the main benefits is you get plus 50 timber cap, so that means you can put down a lot more production buildings and all that. Sermon finishes up his city. He's going to go for a temple at the front. No surprises there. He's actually going to go for a fort on this left side. Not traditionally the best strategy, but you know, he's. It looks like he's preparing for a medieval age push. I mean, look at his income right now. He's going to have an insanely fast medieval age. And when you get that medieval age quick, you can get, if you get a fort in time, you can go for mill 3, get that tactics upgrade, and just crush your opponent, which is a really strong push. And currently, Zathura is really far from aging. He still has no universities at 1540 into the game. And, you know, it should be clear at this point that Sermon's not rushing because he hasn't done anything. Still, both players are just sharing salt. They're just chilling. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Zathura is supposed to do at this point. He needed to get something done earlier, or at least cause some damage. And he is also not doing the greatest job in terms of catching up. I mean, he can still max out his food and timber a little bit better. He needs his knowledge income higher at this point. Because I mean, plus 10 to knowledge is no good against plus 109. Sermon's just spiraling out of control here. No siege factory from Sermon yet, but he has an infrastructure. Sermon's going to go for science 3, and he's going to go for pyramids. He's like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to boom, whatever. Everything's fine. No need to really, you know, do anything here. Zathura has a middling income. He's going to go for a catapult, and looks like Sermon finally did notice, or Zathura finally did notice that merchant, but actually he's going to get his merchant picked off by horse archer, although he did raid once, so that, you know, nice work of him to raid that. Sermon's going to go for another fort here. I don't really know what Sermon's doing, but, you know, it's kind of hard to lose this game at this point. Zathura's just way too behind. I mean, 32 knowledge income to under 29, you know, it's really tough to keep up with. Sermon's going to go for medieval age. He gets the upgrade, and I mean, now this push is sunken in the water, right? Zathura is still very far away from aging. He's not using any of these rares. Really tough for him here. He does have a slightly larger army, it looks like. Yeah, a larger army. Those war elephants are quite good. I mean, if he can do a lot of damage here, he might be able to take the city, but Sermon's already upgrading his units. He has a tower here, a lookout here. He's getting his infrastructure up. Looks like it's going to be a really hard game here for Zathura. We're going to see some skirmishes. Sermon snipes the siege, and that's probably going to be it. I mean, what is Zathura? Zathura can't take the city now because his sieges are just too slow at this point, even if he trades really well. Which it looks like he is doing, right? Sermon's going to lose a crossbow for retreating. Zathura might lose this war elephant, though. Bit of a mistake from him. And Sermon's just infinite queuing out units, and Zathura does not have the economy to keep up. I mean, I don't really know where his money has been going, but he needed to max out a while ago. He is at 77 knowledge income, which is, you know, not nothing, but 180 for Sermon. I mean, if you look at the point difference, it's 2100. This game's very over, but we'll watch to the end here. Sermon's pop capped. His army's tiny, but you know, medieval age. Yeah, he's gonna crush this push easily. Snipes off the catapults with crossbows. Nice work from him. And he actually infiltrates the library with a spy just to make sure that he's actually ahead. Gonna go for all of the techs. Going for hanging gardens in the back too. But yeah, this game's over. Fortunately, Zathura was just not able to put up much of a fight there. And Sermon, despite having a relatively small army, you know, he's at gunpowder age. He's getting monarch. And, yeah, this game's going to be over very soon. Takes the city, loses it briefly, but is able to reinforce, and GG is called. Yeah, so we saw that game. Basically, it was just Sermon booming, and Zathura was unable to put enough pressure on. Colossus was a good idea, but his own boom execution was not super great. So that's going to be 1-0 in favor of Sermon here. All right, it's gonna be 1-0, and yeah, let's just jump into game number 2 here. Why not? You know. Hey, Sermon, how's it going? Sorry again to all my AS clan members. I'm sorry these took so long to get out. I've kind of preoccupied with other things. So sorry for that. All right, so this game looks like we're going to be on Great Lakes. So yeah, if the Nordic Classic has taught us anything, it's that Great Lakes games are actually the most spicy, most picante games because they always have the weirdest builds. Looks like Sermon's going to go for Russians, and Zathura is going to go for Germans. So obviously, I do love Germans a lot more. But as we know in history, you know, never invade the Russians over Germany, because that's how they like lost World War II. And I imagine a bunch of like medieval age things. Yeah. Anyways, either Sermon or Vinny, somebody, will you come on? Will somebody join me for the? I want to cast my games versus Xano next, because you know the first game went by really quickly, so I figured, you know, so decide amongst yourselves, and then just hop on the AS Discord and we can sort that out. Anyways, yeah, so Germans versus Russians. Let's see, you know, if I was Zathura, right, I'd be thinking, the first thing I'm thinking if it's Lakes, right, is, well, Lakes is one of those maps where it can be really, really good to be aggressive early. And that's because most players just boom, right? They don't think about it. But, you know, it can be really good to be aggressive early. So if I was Zathura, I would definitely be looking for a Commerce 2 Despot push. And that's really strong against Russians, especially because, you know, if you're Despot, their attrition doesn't work, right? And a Commerce 2, right, if you go for Commerce 2 as opposed to just straight up Commerce 1, first of all, it's a water map, so you'll be similarly as fast. And also, right, you're going to mitigate the effect of militia quite a bit, because you can use a militia. You can't use militia offensively because your opponent is Russians, but obviously your opponent can use militia defensively. In terms of rares here, so for Zathura, he's got Marble in the back, Sugar, which is nice, Amber, Silk, which is awesome, right, if he wants to go a Com 2 route. And then Sermon's got Furs, Spice, and that's about it, Furs and Spice. So Furs and Spice versus Silk, Amber, Sugar, Marble. You know, it's tough to say. I do love Furs, right? And it's nice having a Knowledge rare. Oh, sorry, I totally missed this. Sermon also has Diamonds. That's a big deal. You know, those are all pretty solid rares. I think I give the slight edge. You know, I really love Silk, so I got to give the slight edge. And you know, given Zathura spot, I really do like his rares slightly better. But I definitely wouldn't count Sherman out of it. I mean, Diamonds is awesome, right? It's not as good on this map as it is other maps, because on water maps, Diamonds is, you know, not as good as it could be. But Furs is obviously great, and a Knowledge rare is nice. Okay, anyways, while this auto plays for a little bit, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just put the replays in the or you guys should have access to the replays actually in the AS Discord. So all right, and then these ones. Oh, I know. All right, so looks like nothing too exciting happening here. Both players going to go for their Commerce 1. Obviously, Zathura is much faster, given that he's German. So he's actually going to go for Civic first, or Civic 1, which I do like here, actually, considering that he has like access to like no fish, because the map's so small. Sermon also has only 2 fish. Very different from our usual Lakes games, as we see in team games. So I do like this choice to go Civic 1. And Sermon's going to go for a second Wood Camp. Not sure I love this choice here from Sermon. I think he needs to realize this is not a team game. He only has access to 2 fish, so I think that Civic 1 would have been a better choice there, rather than, you know, going for that second Wood Camp. But whatever. I mean, who am I to say? You know, Zathura is going to go for the second city. Really nice for him. It's just getting a good spot. He's going to get access to this lake, maybe even get access to the front water there. And Sermon's going to skip. Oh, he's going to skip, what do you call it? He's going to skip Civic for quite a while. And that looks like that's because he thinks he can max out with just his rares, which is true, right? He can get to 100 food. I still do think going for Civic would have been the better choice, personally. But, you know, he can do whatever he wants. I mean, Sermon's a pretty solid player. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. On the other side, Zathura is getting up his economy really nicely. Would love to see him send a merchant to Silk and use that for the Commerce 2. I mean, he's in a really prime spot for it, right? Like, but instead he's going to go for Science 1. But unfortunate. So for those of you who don't know, this Commerce 2 build on any water map is usually really, really good. What you do is you send a merchant over to Silk, or you don't. I mean, usually you do, but you use Silk and you research Commerce 2 before you age, which leads to either one, you have a really strong like boom in age 2, right? Because you have 150 eco. You max out your wood, you max out your food using fish. And that's really strong, right? You got a nice head start, and you, with the wealth from fish, you can buy food to age at like a similar or slightly delayed speed. And then, or you can translate that to a Com2 Despot, which is a really strong attack, basically. That can be quite effective here. Yeah, I don't really know what Zathura's up to right now. It looks like he's not sending anything to Silk, so he's just currently chilling. Gonna get his wealth income up, which, you know, is good. Don't mind that at all. Sermon is... I don't know what he's doing either. I guess he's saving money for Wonder? Question mark? Oh, he's gonna sneak over and use Silk. Nice. So Sermon is gonna be the one going for Silk. Oh, but he's actually gonna age instead. And here, Sermon's gonna try for Citizen Raid, but Zathura is like, no, out of my territory, you Russian peasant. Yeah. Alright, so Zathura is also gonna age. Both players aging now. Not really sure who this favors right now. I mean, I think on paper, Zathura is like a little bit ahead because he has, you know, a bunch of welfares and stuff. But it is kind of awkward because, you know, Sermon has access to Silk and he also has some units on the field. All right, let's continue to see what these players' build order is. Sermon is going to go for Colossus, interestingly enough. You know, Colossus is one of those wonders that's like not as great on what do you call it? in single player in 1v1. Why did I say single player? This is not single player. It's not as great there, you know, because you trade against your opponent so often. But it could still be good, right? Nice tower there from Sermon. Although he doesn't really need it at this point in the game. Actually, Zathura is almost going to lose this merchant. He might actually still lose it. Sermon doing a decent job chasing there with these slingers. Wonder what Zathura's going to go for. He's going to go for Civic 2. Wow, this is actually a good choice given that Sermon hasn't gone Civic yet, I think, right? Because well, I wish Zathura would have gotten Senator first, but this is, you know, other than that, I do think this is actually a pretty decent spot, right? He doesn't know about furs, but if he civs on Spice, that's a pretty crucial rare, and he also backs Sermon right into a corner, right? Like, Sermon only has 2 fish, and so if you compare the wealth incomes, it's plus 60 to plus 77, even though Sermon has access to diamonds. You know, that's a pretty big deal, and also, you know, obviously Zathura would be denying Sermon's Spice Merchant, which is really nice. So I do think that could be good. Sermon's going to go for Senator, which is what you expect. Zathura's Senator is actually quite late. I'm not really sure where it is. He needs to get it going here. He's going to go for a Senate, yep. Oh, no, what is this? No, build forward. Oh, I mean, he's going to get access to Silk at least, which is nice, but, I mean, this would have been a really good spot, because he just denies Spice, or Furs, honestly, but he obviously didn't scout Furs, so I can't say much for that. Sermon going for the Civic. He's going to get his economy up. He's infinite queuing Scholars, I believe. Nice job. Zathura, on the other hand, is queuing up Scholars as well. He has a bunch of wealth, and he's still ahead in score despite Sermon having a Wonder. At this point, would love to see Zathura go for Hanging Gardens, but he's going to go for Mill 2 instead. So we might be seeing some aggression or raiding here. I'm not entirely sure. Looks like Sermon's been raiding casually in the back. He has some units that are, you know, sneaking around. They made their way all around. They made their way all around the map. So now the battle lines are drawn. You know. Hey, Spiridon, how's it going? Surprised Zathura hasn't been queuing up more scholars at his second university, and also surprised that Sermon doesn't have a second university himself. He's going to go for a city at the front, actually. You know, I was going to say I don't like it, but then I was like, I think this is actually Sermon being correct here. He needs to civ forward here, because, so I was thinking he could civ over to either the side or on Furs, but if he civs on Furs, his caravan route is screwed, and his army split up between the two cities. And if he civs to the side, then Furs is exposed. So I actually do think civving forward is the right choice, even though it's kind of exposing a front. Oftentimes as Russians, it's like kind of hard to... especially in 1v1, it's really tough if you're right next to an opponent because your attrition doesn't do anything. They just bring the supply wagon right on their border and you can't do anything. But I think given Sermon's spot, this is the best way for him to civ. Zathura still isn't queuing up scholars. He has a bunch of wealth floating here. But he is getting his infrastructure, but Sermon's definitely pushing the border here. We're going to see a brief skirmish here. Sermon's going to keep his bowman alive, moves it back immediately. Nice work from him. Zathura is also paying attention. Nice work. So he's going to keep those units alive from attrition. And this is a problem, right? Zathura is pretty far behind on knowledge, actually. He's at 55. Sermon's also at 55, but that's because he doesn't have another university. He's going to go for a second university now. I mean, if you look at all the resources, right, Zathura is leading on everything except for wealth, and knowledge is the same. So, I mean, nice for him, but also, you know, he needs to catch up in this knowledge aspect, and he can also max out his wealth a little bit more with two more caravans. And this is a good choice, you know, pushing, right? That's a nice spot, but unfortunately his opponent is Russians, so not really going to get much done there. Also would have loved to see Zathura try to deny this, what do you call it? Deny this lake here, because that would be a big deal to Sermon, right? His wealth income's pretty stymied. But instead, he's just going to go for a push, queuing up a bunch of units. There's a lot of units. Yeah, pretty interesting so far. Sermon's actually going to go try snipe these, but Zathura's units are here. He's going to burn an attrition, though, which is really awkward. Going to go for a forced march, but that's not going to get much done. He just needs to back up. I don't think he's going to be able to take this city. Sermon's actually going to go for Archer upgrade just to make sure he doesn't lose it. Sermon's actually also not queuing up scholars, interestingly enough. And this is really bad for Zathura, right? He needs to keep his army alive because that's one of the advantages that he has in the game. He has way more units than his opponent right now. I mean, he's like at least double the amount of units and 3 sieges, which is a big deal. But Sermon is Russians, right? And his opponent doesn't have a supply wagon, so it's only going to be a slow siege. That's the only way he can, you know, make do with this. Zathura's doing a nice job keeping his units in the back there. He needs another temple at this forward city, and he needs to age really soon. So you can get supply wagons and also push his territory a little bit. Sermon's army is really small. He's actually skimping on units quite a bit. I think this is a bit of a mistake from him, because if Zathura was anywhere close to aging, I mean, he would just crush this army. But Zathura's going to go for a charge. I don't think he's going to be able to take the city. There's 2 lookouts and a tower. He's going to try and fight it out. Sermon's going to back away. He's going to kite backwards. Nice work keeping the archers in the city there. Zathura hasn't lost any units yet, surprisingly. And Sermon doesn't have militia, so he's just gonna walk in. That's pretty funny. Oh, this is pretty bad. Alright, I don't really know who's gonna win this engagement. I think Sermon's still skimping on units. He lost... Oh no, he's kept all of his archers alive, actually. Now he's queuing up units because he's like, oh wait, maybe I'll actually lose the city. Still really tough to call what's going to happen, but I think Sermon's going to take it, or take the fight. I mean, he just has more. His units are upgraded. He's not burning an attrition. So Zathura, if you're watching this is the right strategy, right? Push the Russians player. You're faster as Germans. Nice work, but you either A, have to get Silk and go for a Com2 Despot play, because that's the best way to kill your opponent fast, or B, you have to max out your knowledge income and age faster than your opponent, because this sort of half push isn't going to work out too well. You know, Sermon with much fewer units has ultimately won the fight. Although it looks like he might actually still lose the city here, but Sermon's going to age, so I think that's going to be the end of it. Yeah. I mean, this attrition is really hurting Zathura at this point. Sermon's sneaking units over. And he also got a fort here to deny Silk. That's pretty funny. Yeah, but looks like, I mean, Zathura at this point, he had his lead. Unfortunately, he was not able to capitalize it, and so I don't think it's, you know, I don't think he's going to get anywhere here. Sermon's going to age. His tower might not finish in time, but Zathura is still nowhere close to aging. Usually don't go Calm 2 before aging, but, you know. Alright. Sermon barely saves that horse, but, I mean, at this point, I think Sermon has a similar number of... Oh, actually, where did all Sermon's archers go? Huh. Guess they died. I don't know. This tower is going to finish, I think. It's going to be close. City becomes large, and I think that's the game, right? I mean, Zathura is still nowhere close to aging. I mean, he still needs, like, 100 more knowledge. And at this point, well, Sermon's economy has been pretty damaged. I think he's... I don't really know. But, and Zathura's economy is still pretty good, but he's definitely behind in knowledge and wealth, unfortunately. Only now going to queue up some scholars. Yeah, I should have done this much earlier. I think it would have been a much better spot if he did. Now, Sermon looks like he's in a very reasonable spot. He has fur, so he can go for a mill 3 push if he wants to. Mill 3 push of himself, but I think he should probably just get his, you know, his economy under him, build another university, get the things rolling here. Because he is definitely, his wealth income's really high here. He's actually going to use Silk. Nice work from him. Gonna go for science too, though. Zathura on the other side, what's he up to? He's gonna go for another smelter, a granary. And he's gonna go for a fort there. Interesting spot for a fort, definitely, but you know. Sermon's gonna start pushing. It's a pretty small army, but he's gonna start pushing nonetheless. Both players upgrading. Sermon's actually gonna go for Hanging Gardens. Oh, right, yeah. Other things Zathura probably should have done, or could have done, one of the things is Hanging Gardens. Hanging Gardens is great with Germans. But, you know. And Sermon's just kind of content to sit here. His boom's pretty strong here. Another skirmish on the front lines. They're just skirmishing. Looks like crossbow numbers-wise, Sermon has much more crossbows. This is a concept that I see a lot of players not 100% understand. It's all about number of crossbows in the medieval age. Basically, you always want to trade against your opponent as much as possible. Sermon's going to go for another fort and some bows here. So yeah, crossbows. You really want as many crossbows as you can because usually medieval age it's really costly to run in your units like straight in a straight up battle. And a lot of times you're just sieging, right, with trebuchets and stuff. So it takes a while to reduce cities, so therefore you have a lot of time. If you have a lot more crossbows, you can just walk up with your crossbows, attack them a bunch, right? If you have more crossbows, your units deal more damage, and then back off and heal, and then do it again. And you just do that continuously, because the sieges in medieval age are really bad, like, relatively. They don't kill cities quite that fast. Nice work from Sermon here. He's going to clear out the water, actually, on this side, which is definitely annoying for the German player, who still hasn't maxed out caravans, which is quite awkward. And now we look at the tech tree. I mean, Sermon's ahead now. Zathura is unfortunately unable to manage. He does have a larger army than Sermon, so I think he could just walk in at this point. And he also wants to trade as much as possible against the, the Colossus player. Sermon's going to go for another wonder, and finally Zathura is going to follow it up with his own wonder, Pyramids. I mean, but at this point, Sermon's boom is out of control here. Does he have literacy? He does have literacy. 239 knowledge income, 265 wealth income, compared to not that for Zathura. And you can see in the point swing now, it's 1200. Sermon infiltrates the library again. That's pretty amusing. I bet he's wondering, like, what's happening here? Oh no! Don't do this. Don't go Civic 3. Oh no. Civic 3 is really bad. Don't go Civic 3. Yeah. Sermon's gonna raid here actually with a horse archer. That's gonna be pretty annoying to deal with. Thera did do a good job driving off Sermon here, but he still can't use these fishing ships. It's actually pop capped right now. So Civic 3, usually you like never research Civic 3 basically unless you're British and you need the taxation upgrade. If you're Persians and you need the taxation upgrade because it's free, or you know some other reason. Usually it's like, oh, this is a nasty raid from Sermon. Really nice work from him. Usually it's just a waste of money because you should have your food and timber maxed out at that point. You have Civic 3, and you shouldn't have enough wealth that you can. If you have excess wealth, you should be getting Science 3, not for scholars. I mean, big fight here on this side. Sermon has a tiny army, and Zathura is just going to walk in. I think he is, but composition-wise, Sermon has a zillion crossbows. Zathura does not. He has 3 crossbows, and Javelineers are bad. Don't make them. They're terrible units. Sermon's going to age up, and I think that's going to be the end of it. I mean, what else can he do here? Zathura is trying his best to press here. He has a pretty large army. Does he have armor? He does not have armor. This is one of the most important upgrades. You should never forget it. Really, really important. It makes your army a lot stronger. Sermon doesn't have many units, but, you know. He has a bunch of lookouts and stuff still. So Zathura might get his sieges sniped here by Sermon's army. And we're going to see a big skirmish here. Big battle. If Zathura doesn't break Sermon here, I mean, Sermon's going to win outright. I mean, look at his score. I mean, this is ridiculous. Economy-wise, he's completely out of control, and Zathura needs to take the city. But all his sieges just died, and the city still has 500 health. A disaster for him. Really, really unfortunate here. And that's nice work from Sermon. He recognized his opponent's, like, okay, well, I can, you know, recognize his opponent's lack of protecting his sieges, and so he's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna walk in and I'm gonna wipe out all the sieges. So nice work from him. Sermon's still raiding here. Nice work. Oh, he has 2 bombards now. Ah, Sermon, you cheeky. It's pretty amusing. Oh, he's going to snipe another siege here, and that looks like it's going to be the game. I mean, Zathura's still a little ways away from aging. Sermon almost ready for Mill 4. Oh, he is ready for Mill 4. He just hadn't clicked up on it yet. Okay, he's going to go for a Mill 4. Big skirmish here. I think Zathura might actually win this one. He is... it's hard to say. I mean, with Sermon pouring in reinforcements, it's going to be tough. But this was looking like the beginning of a promising fight, but his units are in stand ground. Oh, no. What a disaster. No, he's going to finally move them in, but I think it's a little late now. He's going to get flanked on this right side. And looks like Sermon's not going to lose his city, at least, which is, I mean, that's about it. And in fact, Zathura's going to lose the fight outright. And Sermon's been raiding him non-stop. I mean, his economy is okay, but I think Sermon's been killing... Yeah, he's going to take the capital there because Zathura was not paying attention, unfortunately. And that's going to be it. That's going to be GG right there. Alright, that's going to be it. So, GG there. You know, we did see... You know, this was... I think we clearly saw this is just Sermon outplaying Zathura. But we did see definitely that Zathura had some chances to come back and, you know, take advantage of the resources he had. So, you know, let this be a lesson to the viewers. You know, there are things you can do when you lose, right? You know, it's always best to just try and keep improving, because I think Zathura has been playing a lot less than Sermon has, so that's a big factor. Anyways, GG's, and I think what we're going to do is we are going to cast my games now with Xano, maybe? I need to check the Discord, so whoever wanted to cast or is casting, please go on the AS Discord, like the voice chat, and I'll meet you there. For viewers on stream, we'll be back in probably like 5-ish minutes. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, so see you then. All right, hey everyone, welcome back. I want to welcome Sermon to the stream. Say hello, Sermon.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Sermon, as I said earlier, is one of our clan leaders of AS. I got a lot of respect for him, and we're really happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to be here, honestly. Yeah, it's funny because I haven't actually casted a game yet.
Oh yeah,
Um, so it's good to finally, sort of cast a game for the channel. Um, and yeah,
yeah,
just hopefully people enjoy.
yeah, definitely. And also for all you haters out there, where I'm very glad Sermon is here because the next two games are, or the next games are, they are games that I played personally. So it's nice to have another perspective here to talk about stuff. Um, anyways, how are you doing with getting into the things?
Uh, okay, yeah, I'll be like a minute, I think,
All
because for
right.
some reason I couldn't launch the game because
Oh,
it was
okay.
just
No problem.
syncing
No problem.
wrong.
All
I
good.
had
All
to open
good.
it from the game file directly, so.
Oh, fun. Okay, it's all good. Wonder where Vinny went. Oops, that's really loud.
Okay, I'm in the first replay now.
All right, so that's going to be Etherpair versus Xano. This is game number 1. Again, this is the AS1v1 Cup, and I'm at 3 seconds. What's your time at?
Yep. I've just started, so about 6 seconds.
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Let's get started, and I'll just like call out the time roughly once in a while.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right. So this is the AS1v1 Cup again. This time the matchup is between AS Etherpair, that's myself, and AS Xano. So pretty exciting matchup. I don't think I've actually played with. I think I might have played with Xano like once or twice before this tournament. But going in, I had no idea what Xano's skill level was. And so, what would you say about the matchup, Sermon? Who do you think is favored on paper, at least?
Honestly, it's kind of hard to say because even though I haven't really played with Xano much, I must say. I do know he's a very good Nomad player though.
Yeah.
Like when I first started multiplayer, I remember he was sort of one of the elite players, so to speak. Or at least
Okay.
he was in the NNN games when I just sort of started getting on the multiplayer scene. So, he's been around for quite some time, and yeah, it's going to be interesting because, yeah, I'm just kind of intrigued to see what we get basically. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so if we talk about the nations here, it's Bantu versus Iroquois. To be 100% honest, I totally forgot Bantu was a nation, and I think I said this I say this in the game chat at some point in the game, but like if I had remembered Bantu was in the nation pool, I definitely would have picked that over Iroquois. But it ended up being okay. This is Sahara, and both players had built pretty close to each other. Looks like Xano is a little bit slower, just based on just because he put his city down slightly later. But both players are going to be contesting this big center wood here.
Yeah, it does look that way.
All right, and so let's talk through the rares quickly that each player has access to. We can start with Xano. So it looks like he's got Amber right next to Great Zimbabwe. He's got on the back left corner there's gems. On the top side, I mean it's hard to say who has control of these, but it's wine and cotton. And then on the bottom side, also hard to say who gets control of these. It's relics and sugar. And then for each pair, there's copper over on the right side, and in the corner there's horses. And in terms of wood camps, both players have a +5, so it looks like that's fairly even. Yeah, I don't know, Sermon. What do you think, Iroquois or Bantu? What's your pick?
Well, I think in this particular circumstance, Iroquois are pretty good at being close to the enemy because obviously their units are hidden in their own territory.
Yeah.
And this kind of works well for them because you can't. It takes up like a couple of seconds for the units themselves to sort of come out of the ambush mode.
Yeah.
You could say.
Yeah.
So I feel like we might see some kind of sneaky raids or, ambush attacks. Possibly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think obviously Bantu are very strong as well. So I think it's hard to say. I think both are very good. But I do think Iroquois might be better in this circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, the invisible units is a big deal, right? Because if your opponent, if you're the Bantu player and you go mill 1 and you build a hoplite first, if your opponent builds an archer first, you're screwed no matter what. Like your hoplite, even if it's really fast, if they get right next to your hoplite with the invisibility, it's going to be really tough to deal any sort of damage there. But on the other hand, the Bantu, their infantry units are really, really fast, so they can run away from Iroquois units. They can outrun the other, like the non-heavy infantry units. So that could be pretty good.
Yeah, because I know that Iroquois also get some kind of speed buff when it comes to their units, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's the heavy infantry only. The spearmen, is that what they're called? I don't know. I think they're probably called spearmen.
Remember, but yeah, something like that. So yeah, I don't know actually. Going back to what you just said there about the movement speed, that's going to be very handy for Zano for scouting and also for raiding as well.
Yeah,
definitely. Say he can run away from unwanted engagements as well. So if he does send some hoplites towards some archers, for example.
Yeah, he can just run away.
Yeah, he will be able to run away.
Oh, but look at this.
Very big deal.
Look at this. Both players going for mill 1 early on. That's their first tech. And I think this is a good choice from both players. I mean, if you go mill 1 and your opponent doesn't, you oftentimes just win the game outright. And if obviously you lose the game if you don't go mill 1, your opponent goes mill 1. So it's kind of like you're forced to go mill 1,
Yeah, I agree. And it does look like as well we have a barracks coming down from Eat the Pear.
Yep.
We had a tower coming from Zano.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that choice from Zano?
So it's definitely an interesting choice. I think it's a meta call, right? Because the reason why you go mill first in this spot is you hope your opponent is either much slower than you, or they didn't go mill 1 themselves, and then you deny them their wood camp, and then they never get enough wood for a barracks, or you can always continuously deny their barracks, and then from there you win the game. But by going for a tower like this, Zano has basically said, you know what, I'm not going to be aggressive, I'm just going to defend myself and not take any damage. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, yikes, I've been totally outplayed here. So I do think Zano did get the better end of it. This is Pear here not paying attention to his spearmen and just yoinking them into the city, which is a bit unfortunate, but nice work from Zano. He's also going to be able to hit the citizen of Pear here with one of the woodcutters. Really annoying. Yeah,
so it's almost like a defensive move, but also kind of offensive at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to be useful for later on when he can siege from that position as well.
Yeah, definitely. Only problem is, right, if he has to continuously garrison these citizens, and also he can't deal any counter damage. Like, he invested all of his wood into that, so these spearmen here are just, like, being really annoying, and Zano has to constantly send his units in and out of the city. That's a small price to pay for. You don't have to get your barracks down early. You can do some. This tower is really, really annoying for Pear to deal with early on, Yeah, now it looks like Pear is going to go for Civic 1. Xano's floating a lot of food.
Yes, I also noticed that Xano doesn't have enough wealth for his archers, so he's going to have to build some light infantry instead, which should work, because of these hoplites are quite, spearmen rather, are quite low in health.
Yeah. That's still awkward, really. He's also going to go for Civic 1 now. And Pear might get a city denied here, actually.
I think it will go up, just about. He might lose a villager possibly, but
yeah. Alright, and the city does look like it's going to go up here. Fortunate for Pear there. This tower is still really being annoying. And Xano's also gotten his Civic down. So at this point, who do you think is ahead? Like, points-wise, Pear is ahead by 100 points. I think that's because he's killed a unit, I think. Yeah, well, no, actually, I'm not entirely sure. Because it's because he's more army in a city.
Yeah, that's part of the reason.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say because even though either pair has a city down, obviously as Bantu, Xano can build 2 cities. So he already has that kind of advantage built into his nation. But I think for the time being, either pair definitely does have the advantage for the time being.
Yeah, the momentum at least. Because Xano, his economy, I mean, it's a little lower, and his commerce 1 is a little slower. It's gonna take. I mean, these cities take time to build, so it's gonna be a little while before he can catch up in income.
Yeah, that's true. Do you look at the runes as well? Because
oh yeah, sure, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
runes-wise, looks like Xano's gotten 4 more. It's 200 to 300 rune bonuses, but Pear is ahead in terms of overall number of resources collected. I mean, you can see it's a 200-point difference in food, 150 in timber, and you know, obviously slight wealth gain here because Pear's gotten the market down first.
Yeah, and it looks like both of them have done a pretty good job at scouting the map as well. We do see that they both of them covered most of the map.
Yeah, it looks like, let's see, looks like Xano hasn't scouted, what's this rare? Oh, it looks like Pear's missing sugar, I think, right? Sugar on the very bottom, yep. And then, has Xano scouted that? Yeah. Xano has scouted sugar, but he's missing relics.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a reverse kind of deal here.
Yeah.
I think Xano will scout relics with this villager that's just coming up.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yep, he is going to run into it, but he's getting raided on the top side here. 1 citizen killed, 3 units for Pear here against the single Umpakati from Xano.
Yeah, and he's forced to bring those villagers from his farms to finish the markets as well, so that's going to be a little bit damaging on his food income.
Yep. Honestly, you know, sorry, go ahead.
So I was going to say pretty good rates from Pear right now. He is certainly damaging Xano's economy, delaying the market. It's all little things that do add up.
Yep. He's killed another citizen, but he might lose the spearman for it. It's quite awkward to fight against Bantu because, you know, if you are going to lose a fight, they can just chase you down, and if they're going to lose a fight, they just run away. Really nice micro so far from Xano. I'm really liking it. He's been careful to try and save as many units as he can. Unfortunately, I think he has. I think right now, let's take a look at the kill count. It's Pear's killed 2. I think those are both citizens, and Xano's also killed a citizen. So slightly in favor of Pear here. So yeah, what do you think the build order should be from here, right? It seems like the game has kind of stabilized.
I think I would probably do is skip science in this circumstance because at the end of the day, all it's really going to do is give you the option to build a temple. I mean, that might be useful, but usually that wood is better spent on getting an early university, senate, stable, mine, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That's
Agreed.
just my opinion. I mean.
Yeah, I agree. I think that makes sense. in terms of economy-wise, Xano has a pretty solid economy, plus 90, plus 100, plus 20 wealth, and he's going to have 2 caravans. Para has finished up the caravan route, so he's at plus 33. Only 86 food. I think that's because he's not using... Yeah, he pulled a citizen to build a tower for a little bit, which is kind of awkward. Another raid from Para. He's actually going to kill a bowman, which I think I remember thinking that was quite fortunate that I got that bowman.
Yeah. Also, if you look at Xano's wealth income right now, it's very low.
Yeah, he can't use his caravans at all because there's 3 units here from Para. Where is this other caravan? Is it like off in the wilderness somewhere? Maybe it's in the city? Oh yeah, it's in the city. Xano's gonna go for Science 1 and Para's just gonna age up.
Yeah, so it's like Xano did go for Science 1. Yeah, whereas Para obviously just gonna age up, get those buildings down for age 2.
Yeah. So, you know, if the game does go long, this definitely does favor Xano slightly, right? I mean, if you age after your opponent, you get a 10% cheaper age time, which is, or age cost, which is, you know, it's something, and also Science 1 also cheapens things. And it can oftentimes be tough to squeeze in the money for Science 1 later on.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say Eat the Pear is definitely ahead, just simply because of the early age and higher wealth, more wealth in the bank as well.
Yeah, 37 plus 20 wealth income right now. Xano's caravans they are in movement currently, so once he gets those, he'll have a slightly higher wealth income.
That's gonna. And he has 3 cities, so that's gonna help.
Yeah. Some skirmishes on the top side. Xano's gonna snipe off an archer from Para, which is already upgraded actually.
So what time point are you at currently?
I'm at 1305 right now. 1305.
Alright, I was a little bit ahead. But,
yeah.
It looks like Xano will survive with that unpackety right there. Looks like he will run away.
Yep. He's gonna get it safely into that city there. Fortunate for him. Nice work. Basically able to snipe off the archer for free.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a mill 2 from Para.
Yeah, it's a good decision. Maybe get a siege out, get down the tower of the wood camp, start sieging the city.
The Senate's going up for Xano. In score-wise, they're actually really close right now. It's only a 50-point difference.
Yeah, that's true. So it looks like Xano's going to be going for the Republic government. So what do you think about that? Would you?
I think that in this spot, I think given that he hasn't seen his opponent go government yet, I think he should have gone despot. I think.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, obviously. Like if he goes senator and holds off the rush, because that's clearly what Para's doing, right? Like if you haven't seen a senator in a while, he's either gone for civic 2 or a fast mill 2, which he's going for the fast mill 2.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen government for a while, you should expect a rush. And so obviously, if Xano can hold off the rush with Republic, he's probably going to win, right? Because you know.
Yeah. I think Republic as well is good because he's going to be most likely on the defensive, which is going to be good.
That's true.
For the healing bonus. Where I'd say Eat the Pet already has the healing bonus due to being a require, so he's better off going despot.
Yeah, fair point.
Look at this border push as well from Xano. We see he is using gems, so the border push is quite...
Yeah, gems and a temple. And this is another example of the capital border bonus. If your capital gives a slightly larger... it says capitals have a greater effect on national borders than other cities. And so that's sometimes why having a city your capital at the front can actually be an advantageous thing. You know, just having greater border push there.
Yeah, that's true.
Para is going to go for a despot.
Yeah, it's a good decision.
two sieges here.
For Pear as well. Looks like he does have quite a few units there.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Down
units.
the tower.
What's Zano gonna do? Does he have a tower? Oh, he does have a tower somewhere. Yeah. Oh, he's gonna try to research militia, but I don't think that's gonna finish.
It will be close. I think he might. No, he's not.
No, it's at 60-something%. He's gonna lose it. That's really bad for him.
We haven't really seen any raids really on the rare resources, which is quite surprising, given that we have quite some pretty strong rares.
Yeah, I'm surprised Zano hasn't used his he has a hoplite hanging out near the bottom, but it hasn't gone anywhere near relics. We're gonna see a skirmish here on the top. Pear just using his army to be aggressive. And this is kind of the advantage of sieging from this position. You have the tower at Onondaga protecting the sieges, so it's gonna be hard for Zano to really push there.
Yeah, and the second siege can probably just garrison in the city if need be as well.
Yep.
I think it's close enough.
And Zano has, let's see, 6 units against the 10 of Pear right now.
Yeah. I've just realised both of them haven't really gone for knowledge yet. In fact, Zano doesn't have a university. So.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Pear's using relics right now, so and just built the university. Zano, with all these militia, he's going to be able to drive off Pear momentarily, at least.
Yeah, and I think he should try and get allegiance as well if he can get the metal for it, because that'll make Pear's militia obviously take damage.
The militia are pulled. All the militia are pulled. It's going to be a big fight here.
And I think Pear probably has this, simply because he has the upgraded classical age units.
Yeah.
And a lot more units in general, so...
Yeah. Bribe's gonna go down. Nice bribe from Zano, but I'm not sure it's gonna be enough.
Yeah, I think this is probably GG. The problem is as well, the barracks is too far away to really reinforce fast enough.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It looks like it's going to be it here. Pear sacks the capital, and GG is called.
Yeah,
all right.
Well played by Pear.
Definitely a hard-fought one for sure. It's going to be 1-0 in favor of either pair. So what would you say was, would you say Zano made a critical mistake that game or anything like that? Or was it a combination of things?
I think it was a combination of things. Being slower in the beginning didn't really do him any favours, and also, well, I think maybe he could have not gone for Science 1, possibly.
Yeah.
If he just prioritised getting his buildings down sooner. It's hard to say really, because either pair did a very good job raiding Zano early on. Zano just didn't have enough units to defend properly, and also going for that tower instead of the barracks might have been a possible mistake as well. So,
yeah, because it ended up really costing him because he had to reinforce from far away.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up game number 1. Shall we load up game number 2?
Yep, sure.
Yes, Youth Pair versus Zano, game 2. Alright, I'm at 3 seconds when you're ready.
Okay, just loading the replay now.
Alright, cool. Let me know when you're there, and then I'll give it a nice little countdown.
Okay. Okay, I'm at 0 seconds. So
Alright. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, let's get started here. This is game number 2. Looks like we're on Watering Hole this time. Pretty exciting map. I don't think I've actually, I feel like a bunch of us have played more, team Nomad games than we have 1v1s. So it was pretty exciting to actually just start on this map because I don't really have much experience with it as being not a team game.
Yeah, same here, really. I haven't really played too many 1v1 Nomad games in my time, especially not this map. So I'm actually kind of interested to see what happens here.
Yeah, so in terms of the matchup, we have Nubians versus French. I gotta say, I think Xano really drew the short end of the stick here. I think Nubians are, like, this is probably the worst Nubians map. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that because obviously the rares are going to be contested. And not only that, there's not many rares in a 1v1 map to begin with.
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
maybe
let's
even
let's
less
count
rares
them, shall we?
available.
So we've got Bison here, like basically right between the two between the two players. There's Dye on the top side, and there's Copper. That's it.
Yeah, and also wool as well.
Where's Wool? Oh, here. It's like blends in with the environment.
Yeah,
The grass is so white that the wool are just there.
Yeah. I think the main focal point for this game is going to be whoever controls Copper will most likely win the sea battle.
Yeah.
And it looks like it is. I want to say it's probably closer to Pear.
Yeah, it's a little bit closer. It's not like super closer, but it's a little bit closer. In terms of wood, it looks like Pear's got a plus. It's a +6 with French, right? That's one of their powers. Again, an extra one, and Xano's got a +7, just naturally there. And this is actually a pretty nice set of opening rares for him. He's got Bison and he's got Wool.
Yeah, if he does locate the. Okay, it looks like he will see the Bison, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the Nubian power, right? You can see the resources in your territory.
Yeah, and if he scouts Dye as well and starts using that, then I think he will be up for a good opener.
Yeah, a really fast one. I mean, Bison's like, it's basically like the best rare you can have as a Nubians, aside from, I think, Sugar, like early on. Or Diamonds, but I mean, I think Diamonds less so. I'd rather have Bison. Early on, at least. But he's going to use Wool also. Wool's, you know, it's not bad, right? Citizens are produced faster and slightly cheaper, which is pretty good for the early game. Also, the income, although it looks like, look at this merchant here on the top side. He's being a little lazy. He finally does move over. Oh, nope. Merchant's back to being lazy. He's just sitting there. The wool's right there, and he's like, nah, not going to sell it. I don't really want to make my living quite yet. No, now he's going to deploy there.
Yeah, so far we do see, obviously, Xano is going to be ahead because of the Nubian power.
Yeah, I mean, he's already at +60 food.
Yeah, it looks like Pear's going to try and villager raid the Bison, but Xano does have a villager nearby, so he will be forcing the villager to run away.
Yeah. And this is a slight oversight for me. I probably should have sent 2 citizens over because I can't kill this Bison Merchant anytime soon. It has 135 health. It's going to slowly regen. My citizen does like 1 damage per hit. So, you know.
That's true,
yeah. In terms of scouting, Xano has not scouted Dye or Copper. And on the other side, Pear has not scouted Dye. But he has... Oh, no, he does scout Dye, never mind.
Yeah.
Xano's halfway done with his library. Against, let's see where Pear's library is. Pear is also halfway done with his library, so... in terms of income-wise, Xano is ahead, definitely. 3 farms, 70 food income. That's kind of where you want to be at, right? And also, it's just saving you timber, right, in the long run, because you do want timber for boats in this map.
Yeah, that's true.
And so...
ruin manipulation there as well by Pear. He does get some timber ruin.
Yeah.
That doesn't work out.
Yep.
So, scouting-wise, let's look at the ruins as well. Looks like Xano is doing very well with the ruins.
Yeah, 175 to 75. He's definitely, you know, he's definitely outdoing Pear there. Does look like food and timber collected-wise, Pear is doing slightly better, but I expect to see Xano catch up soon enough because he did have, you know, he does have quite the decent income. Already finished up his Commerce 1, whereas Pear is just now getting it. And I'll talk briefly about a point here. I was considering going Mill 1 because I wanted to raid that Bison. That's a crucial rare, but I was like, I need the wealth from getting a couple fish at least. So I ultimately decided to go Commerce first, and also because I had more timber than food, so it's kind of inefficient to wait for Mill 1.
Yeah. And it looks like Zano should go for Military 1. He has the food for it, so
yeah.
It looks like he will go for that. So he's going to be faster than Pear is. Pear's actually going for a second wood camp to try and get his timber.
Yeah. So not sure if that was the right play there from Pear. I think given this, like hindsight's 2020, I think going for Mill 2 would have been correct, or just Mill immediately. But getting a couple fish is really important, obviously. And also, I think, I think I know why I went for Woodcutter Camp here. It's because I wanted to get a market down so I could use copper. Because otherwise I wouldn't have enough timber to use copper and boat.
Yeah, that's true.
Xano's going to queue up a trireme already. He's going to go for Civic 1.
Yeah. I think Xano could even go for 2 triremes just to be extra annoying, because that would make sure that Pear just ultimately just focuses on C.
Yeah. See, Pear might actually lose this fishing ship if he's not careful.
Yeah, it's gonna be close. Looks like he might just
44 HP.
Away.
It's gonna keep it alive.
Bark as well, by the looks of it.
Yeah, interesting choice. I think given how he has so much timber, I would have liked to see him go for another trireme, just to cement control of the water here. Pear's gonna go for Mill now.
Yeah. So I'm at just 7 minutes past. 7.
Yeah, I'm at 6:55. I'll just go. I'm at 7:07 now. I just skipped ahead, and Pear lost a fishing ship to a bark, which is never a good sign. Sloppy play from Pear there. But the trireme is out, and copper is going to be used by Pear. Xano hasn't scouted copper or dye, which is pretty unfortunate for him. He's gotten quite unlucky with the scouting so far. I mean, just look.
Yeah, he might just scout copper possibly with this villager that's coming. Also, for some reason, he's not using bison anymore.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know why.
I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what happened there.
Bison is like throwing a fit. It's like, nah, I'm out. I'm gonna stop working for the Nubians. I'm just gonna. It looks like he notices again. He's gonna use it. I don't know why. I'm not really sure what happened to that merchant there. But Pear has 2 ships, and he's queuing up a 3rd, so both players skipping barracks for now. Xano's actually went for Science 1.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah. There was interesting choice there. I was going to say, because even though Xano doesn't know about copper, if he clicks on Pear's triremes, he can see the increased HP there.
Yeah. 216 to 180, I think, right?
Yeah, so it's 180 versus 216.
Alright, it's going to be a 3-on-3 boat battle. Xano actually queues up a 4th trireme here. Let's see if Pear is also queuing up a 4th trireme. It's complete chaos in the water here.
Yeah, Xano will be better off in this episode. He can just garrison his triremes like right next to the dock. However, Pear is obviously using more efficiently, so his wealth becomes better.
Yeah.
I think he did end up using dye as well, which is quite sneaky, considering it's right next to Xano's border there.
Yeah. And if we look at the incomes, I mean, Xano's been at 100 food for quite a while, so he's going to have quite a bit more food than Pear here, who's only at plus 80, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like I'm kind of sworn Pear actually did click to go for the small city early, but like it looks like he might have deleted it or changed his mind. I'm not sure. Possibly because he wanted to build some triremes instead and save the wood.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not too sure. It
I
looks
don't
like
know.
we'll be going for the second city near Copper.
Yep. What do you think about this city spot as opposed to like obviously further down near Bison?
Well, I think it's obviously important because he wants to make sure Copper is in his territory. Maybe put a tower on it or a market near it so he can make sure that it's going to be properly secured. So I think it is the right decision.
But now we see a big problem for Pear. Xano is aged. It's sub 10 minutes and he's aged despite losing water and spending a bunch of money on fishing chips or on triremes. And now he can take control of water again with his fire rafts. Although, he's going to save his fire rafts. Nice micro there from him. But fire rafts are a huge deal in Classical Age. In like, what is Pear supposed to do? He has 4 triremes against really cheap fire ships.
Yeah, that's true. I guess, but obviously he's going to have to build a bark. He really just needs to age up to Classical Age. Get some metal income going. He does have a very big mountain near a city near Copper. He might be a plus 10, possibly.
Yeah, I think that's a plus 10, the one above Copper, yeah. Tower going to go down to Copper. Let's take a look at what Xano's up to in terms of infrastructure. He actually hasn't built anything yet. I think it's just focusing on microing right now. But I expect to see the mine, the stable, the Senate go up soon. Maybe a university.
Yeah.
Pear's going to click up to age. But this is a very late age comparatively.
Yeah, and he also doesn't have Science 1.
Yep. So at this point, would you say how I mean I think we can agree that Xano is ahead, but how far ahead do you think he is?
I'm not too sure because if you look, Pear does have a lot of wealth stacked up, whereas Xano doesn't really have much wealth. But I think he does have food and wood quite a lot stored up, so I guess it kind of balances out.
Yeah.
You can just sell them for wealth, so I guess it's kind of even.
Yeah.
But I think, obviously, because he gets the Classical Age first, he is going to be a little bit ahead in that respect.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he hasn't been infinite queuing citizens. That's something you often see players do, is especially when they have a lot of food, right? Like you start infinite queuing citizens basically as soon as you get to Classical Age, because you need the extra citizens from mines and also maxing out your income with woodcutter camps and whatnot.
Yeah. Looks like Xano is gonna try and raid die, which he will do because there's no archers or anything there to defend the merchant.
Bit sloppy from Pear. Probably should have stationed an archer there, but looks like that is going to get raided. I'm at 12:15, by the way. What time are you at?
Okay. 12:35.
I'll just skip ahead a little bit. 12:35, right? Okay, I'm at 12:40 now. And Pear does lose that merchant there, unfortunately for him. Xano's going to go for Republic, and he's actually going to upgrade all the boats here.
Yeah, I think what I'd do as well is build a secondary dock as well if I was Xano or Pear. Because you want to make sure that you can have a constant flow of ships coming out. Because obviously the water is extremely important.
Yes, definitely. What's Pear up to? Let's see. Oh, he's going to go for Mill 2. We know what that means, don't we?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a despot. You know I love my French despot.
Yeah, I think it is the right decision because I think he just recognizes that Xano probably will have his ships upgraded. I don't know, although he does have copper. Pear does have copper, so if he wanted to, he could contest for the water. But I think in this circumstance, being French, it just makes sense to make use of the fact that he can go for that despot and go for the land attack.
Yeah. Zano's going to get up his barracks and stable. University there. He's actually going to go for civic before mill. His economy is also kind of lacking at this point, which is a bit unfortunate for him.
Yeah, he's still at his 100 cap there for his resources.
Yeah. Horse archer here from Pear on the bottom side. Not sure how much that's going to get done.
Well, he might run into this metal mine here. He might be able to kill a villager or two, possibly.
Zano's already queuing up a light horse. This is exactly the kind of response you want. Nice work from him. But Pear does get one villager.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to lose it. Yeah, he's going to lose this horse archer, which is not worth it, right? Horse archers are relatively expensive compared to a single citizen. But Pear does have his despot's going to come out. I'm at 1440 now, and he's going to start sieging.
Yeah. And it looks like Pear is going to be going in for the all-in here because he doesn't have any knowledge income right now. So if this attack fails, then it will likely be GG.
Yeah.
Because Zano does have a reasonable knowledge income.
Yeah, he's at plus 50. He's using dye and wool. Nice work from him. Both getting buffed by that Nubian power. But I think I guess I'll say I think the reason why when I play French and I don't go for a university early, it's because you want to go for the university right before you take a fight, basically. And that it's so you can like infinite queue. You can just spam scholars as plunder, right? So like when you take a fight, you get a bunch of plunder from their despot. You just empty your wealth and then continuously spam scholars as you fight, and then that's kind of how you get ahead in tech or catch up rather.
Yeah, that's certainly one way to do it.
Zano's infinite queuing units. Does he have militia? He does have militia.
Yep.
And pretty awkward for Pear because the city's a little bit far away, and so he has to walk quite a ways to get to Zano's area. But Zano has pulled a militia.
Yeah, despite that militia point, it's not really done much damage to his economy. He's still at 100 food and wood and 60 metal, so he's not doing too bad there. Obviously, the Pear does have the upgraded classical age units and the unique French heavy horse.
Yeah, like Chevalier, one of the best classical age units, aside from the War Elephant, obviously, which everybody knows is broken.
Yeah, that's true. So it's like, I'm not sure who's going to win this engagement.
Yeah, we're going to see a big fight here. Pear's phalanx upgrade is still a little ways away. I think he delayed it for a little bit too long, and he's going to try it. He's going to back off at least momentarily. He's just trying to kite backwards. But Zano does have a lot of heavy infantry.
That's true, but unfortunately for him, Pear does have quite a lot of archers.
Yeah. So definitely a bit sloppy, Pear just walking in with all his cavalry, but
yeah. Looks like Zano's going to try and bribe a unit there, but so he's forcing Pear to sort of kite backwards towards his own territory there.
Yeah. I'm at 1710 now. Pear's going to do a brief retreat. He's actually packing up his catapult, so it looks like he's just firmly in retreat mode.
Yeah, which is probably the best, good decision, because the city is pretty much reduced anyway, so... So Zano's going to be getting a tower behind. I think Zano really just needs to like spam maybe another barracks, another stable, because he just needs to get some more units.
Yeah.
Here, because otherwise he's going to end up being overrun.
Yeah. I mean, now the army advantage is definitely in favor of Pear.
Yeah.
The sieges are starting to siege again. They're going to take out that tower that's building there. Another bribe coming out from Zano. I think this one's going to connect, maybe? Oh, no, the city's taken.
Yeah. So, good job by Pear. He's going to be raising the farms as well, which is good. And get rid of a bit of plunder from that.
Zano trying his best to trade here, but at this point it's really tough to trade against a French player.
Yeah. So it's interesting because Zano, he's still technically in the game because he is very close to the medieval age.
Yep.
Whereas Per is obviously quite far behind at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what happens and what his plan will be.
Yeah, he is. He also does have complete control of the water here. Surprised he's not using that fourth fish. But if he spends his resources, I think he, you know, if he manages to age and then spend his resources.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he could do with getting both of his available cities up because he did go for Civic 2, so he can build 3 cities. Which he didn't do for some reason. I guess he was just too focused on defending his second city.
Yeah.
Looks like Pear's just going to be, you know, constantly getting units out. That's what you want to do. He has the advantage on land, so he wants to press that.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's compare army sizes. We've got 12 units, more coming out versus 3 units for Zano.
Yeah. So Per should really just go for Napata right now because there's not really anything here to...
Yeah, this is definitely a blunder from Per's part. I mean, he's kind of just sitting there.
Yeah, he's just kind of consolidating his army right now. He's not
Yeah.
really going for any particular push.
Yeah, I think here I was just trying to get rid of the production buildings because I thought Zano was actually much further ahead than, or much further along in the tech tree than he actually was. But it's definitely a mistake here. Xanos might be able to age, actually, which would be really bad for Per.
Yep. Just needs a little bit more food and then he can age. Zano should also probably get a temp on the Pata as well, just to give it a bit more of a HP boost.
Yeah, definitely.
Buy him a little bit more time.
Yeah.
But this is a really big army from Per, so I'm actually interested to see if Zano can hold this once he ages. Because even with the age, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, he's going to research medieval age. He just doesn't have enough army at this point. He's going to keep another archer. But this is like, what, with 5 units to 17?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not sure he's going to get the age in time, unfortunately. Just a lot of units here from Per. Well, he depends. If Per can just go in now, capture Napata, and then that'll be the end game, but looks like he's going back.
Not sure if he can, because there's so many militia here. But honestly, if Per just walks in, he could probably take this, right?
He has a lot of units, so I would say he could probably take the city.
He's going to instead go ahead and siege the tower there.
Yeah, but as we can see, Zano is very close to aging. He will age in time.
Yeah. Now this is pretty awkward for Per. He's going to get a supply wagon sniped. The Despot's still alive, but pretty awkward there.
And he can't make another one, obviously, because he's not in medieval age. So.
Yeah. Could make another mine and another... Or he could make another siege factory, which would give him another supply wagon.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't think he really needs it.
No. Even though his cavalry are getting damaged, I mean, his army's still much larger.
Yeah. Looks like he will take the city as well.
Yeah, he's going to go in for a charge. And, yeah, he takes the city, and that's going to be GG, I think, right?
Yeah, because Zano doesn't really have any economies, even getting these scholars out, converting them into militia as well. It's like a last-ditch effort there.
A bloody skirmish over the city of Napata, but, I mean, this is the power of the French despot.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say this is probably GG, although... I mean, yeah, it's GG, but looks like Zano's still
Yeah,
He's
Pear's
still
lost everything but his
holding.
archers at this point.
Yeah. Looks like he will cover GG as well.
Yep. It's gonna be GG.
Yeah.
Alright. GG. Definitely there, I think. I think in this game, Xano could have taken control of the water a little bit earlier, and basically made sure Pear didn't get the wealth that he needed to do a successful despot.
Yeah. I kind of think he overinvested a little bit into the water as well, because as we see, he has those galleys just sitting there not doing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And he didn't recognize, or perhaps he just didn't expect Pear to go on land the way he did. So, yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, that's going to wrap up today's cast pretty much. Again, thank you, Sermon, for joining me. Really appreciate you, taking your time out of your day and spending some time on the casting booth.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Happy to help where I can.
All right, and yeah, that's going to wrap up today's cast. Hope everybody has enjoyed. I know it's a pretty different time than a lot of you are used to. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye now.
See ya.